Hey there, I am Micah Williams, your island chef. Welcome to my kitchen. On today's show, we're going to be working on easy entrees. We're going to start it off with a cashew and quinoa stuffed pepper. From there, we're going to go to homemade sausage rolls, and we're going to finish it off with a spice-rubbed rockfish. Delicious. Even going to serve it with a rooibos coconut cream. All that's coming up on today's show. So, just working on the filling for the stuffed peppers. Okay, we've got some onions chopped up here. Gonna get those into the pan. We've also got some quinoa that we've cooked up already, 1 cup of quinoa cooked. We're going to get a little bit of oil in here and toss the onions in. Get our oil in there, ready for our onions. We're just going to let them do their thing on medium heat, brown them up a little bit, and we'll come back to those shortly. So, onions underway. We're going to saute those, like I said, till they're brown, and then we're going to finish it off with a handful of cashews and just toast those a little bit in the pan as well. Once those are cooked, we're going to add them to our cooked quinoa. We've got what was 1 cup of uncooked quinoa. 2 parts water, 1 part quinoa is how we've cooked it, and this is what we've ended up with. Okay, and so this is cooked, ready to go, and as I said, we're going to be adding some ingredients to this to make it delicious so that we can stuff our peppers. I've already got a nice little surprise here. Some garlic that I roasted. As you can see, I cut the top off of this bulb, and I drizzled a little bit of oil into it and baked it at 350 degrees until it looked like that. It took about 25 minutes. This is now cooled down, and I just give it a squeeze, and all that wonderful roasted garlic comes right out, ready to be added to our quinoa. Awesome, that's gonna be a nice touch. Let's give our onions a stir. And we'll just give these a couple quick chops, and then we can toss them into the bowl. Let that love spread around a little bit. Let's chop up a little bit of green onion, shall we? Just gonna chop these like so, nice and easy. Washed them already. Chop them right down to the white tips, and then we'll save that for another use, another time. All right, let's chop up some of these beautiful little tomatoes now. Probably about a cup's worth. I'm just gonna rough chop them, cut them in half, and then a couple more slices, depending on their size. So, we're having fun so far, right? This is looking good. Our quinoa mix is coming together. Speaking of which, our onions, they need a stir. Okay, so good head start on those onions. What we're gonna do now is grab about a half a cup of cashews and just kind of crumble them a little bit. Instead of having to chop them, you can just use your hands and break them up. Very rustic. We'll just give them a chance to toast up a little bit, and that will be ready to go into our quinoa mixture. Okay, so we're getting close. We're getting close. So before we finish up our mix, let's just get our peppers ready. And what I like to do at this stage, our peppers are going to be sitting, right? So I want to find some edges that well, it's sitting quite well there, and on the flip side, it's sitting well quite well there. So we'll cut it like so, and then our halves sit just right. Okay, get rid of our seeds and veins. All right, so I'll show you that one more time. Now we've got our pepper here. It doesn't always work, but if you can make it work, try and find opposing sides that sit nicely so that you know that after it's cut and it's stuffed, it'll kind of sit on its own and not need any help. And then you just remove all those seeds and veins, and then those peppers are ready to stuff. Beauty. All right, so get our sauteed onions and cashews into our mix here. Okay, and then we're gonna finish that off with a little bit of basil infused olive oil. Regular olive oil would do just fine, but that's a nice touch. Touch of balsamic vinegar. Whoa, that was a heavy touch, but we'll survive. And a little bit of salt and some fresh ground pepper. Ready to stir that up and stuff. Okay, let's stuff. So just grab your mix, pack it in there a little bit. And soon we're going to be ready for the secret ingredient that's going to take these guys over the top. So, have any ideas what that secret ingredient might be? I'll give you a hint. It starts with a C. Actually, it starts with an S because it's smoked cheddar. Let's bust this open. One of my personal faves, the double smoked Balderson cheddar. Just grate this up, sprinkle it on top, and our stuffed peppers are going to be ready to hit the oven. Now that's pretty liberal. You don't need to put that much on. You do what you want though, okay? If you want lots of cheese, you put lots of cheese. If you want a little bit of cheese, you put a little bit of cheese. Those are now ready to hit the oven. 400 degrees, 20 minutes till the cheese is nice and crispy. The peppers are softened up. I just happen to have some ready to go that are really, really excited about me eating them. So I'm gonna go do that. These cooled down just enough to be eaten. All right, so this would be perfectly well and good to dig into right now, but I'm just gonna finish this off, pretty it up a little bit, okay? I got a little bit of this living basil here. We'll take a little bit of that, slice it up. Okay, a little bit of that, and for me, you know, I always like a kick. So a little bit of hot sauce just finishes it off just right. A little touch of hot sauce. Great way to add some heat to a dish. Keep it mild for everyone else, but you like the heat, then hot sauce works wonders. Oh yeah, that's nice. The pepper softens up nicely. Cheese, the cashews, nice little bite. Love it. So there you have cashew quinoa stuffed peppers. Recipe 1 down. Coming up next, homemade sausage rolls. All right, just getting set up, prepared to make some sausage rolls, some homemade sausage rolls. One of my favorite snacks, although it can be an entree too. I'll show you how to do that in a sec. We're gonna start off by getting our puff pastry ready to go here. We've got some Gerard's puff pastry made right here on the island. Just gonna open this package up and just get the pastry rolled out. The nice thing about this is it comes all ready to go. You don't have to break out the rolling pin. All you need to do is figure out where the plastic starts. And there we go. And then to just start unrolling. Okay, so what we're gonna do here is we're just gonna sprinkle some flour on our nicely cleaned countertop and then start rolling it out this way. We've got 2 different kinds of meat. A little bit of ground beef, a little bit of ground pork. We're gonna mix it up. We've got 1 kilo total, and 1 kilo of the ground meat works perfectly with these Gerard's puff pastry rolls. We end up with just the right amount. So what we need to do is get some salt. We're gonna do a tablespoon of salt. one of the few times I actually do measure. Now, I'm actually making this kid-friendly, so I'm gonna go lighter on my spices than I normally would. A little bit of cumin, a little bit of coriander. I'm gonna skip the chilies altogether, but I would put a whole tablespoon of chilies in there, make it nice and chorizo spicy. A little bit of garlic, some fresh chopped garlic. Again, about half as much as normal. Breadcrumbs, very key component. Those are some breadcrumbs that I did myself from leftover whole wheat bread that got stale. And we've got some apple cider vinegar here. Need about 3 tablespoons of that. And then we're ready to mix. Now the best way is get your hands right in there. You really need to get those ingredients stirred up and mixed around. And you know, this really does, it takes a minute, a good solid minute or sometimes more depending on how efficient you are. Really want to make sure that everything's really evenly distributed. Now all the details for this, of course, will be on the website, as always. Now once you get it all mixed together, what we're ready to do is start dividing this up into rolls so that we can put it onto our pastry. So I just like to go like so, roll it back and forth until it gets into roughly the right shape. And then plunk it on. If you got a little bit extra, you just break it off. So, you know, this doesn't need to be perfect. It's just trying to get it into roughly the right size. Now, we'll finish this one off before we move on to the next, and I'll show you why. So we'll just get a couple more rolled out here so we're ready to go. And this is how I tackle this. You get a bunch of these rolls made up. Okay, that's looking pretty good there. So, show you how we finish this off. What we want to do is roll it enough, far enough so that it's going to overlap on itself, the pastry that is. Okay? Once we get it there, cut the pastry. Okay? And continue rolling over. And then what actually helps is a little bit of egg wash. Okay, then we'll take our brush and we will just brush just a tiny little bit to help seal that edge. Okay, and then kind of pinch it together like so. Okay, and then drop it onto your cookie sheet, pinched side down, and then just carry on. Okay, and again, just a touch of egg wash. Pinch it over. And you can see I'm just kind of sliding my finger, not really pinching, but kind of pinching, kind of not. It's just like a little pinch. It's like a semi-pinch. So you can see, you know, once you get everything in place and you maybe done this once or twice, it comes together really quick. And what we're gonna do now is we're not gonna bake all of these up. Like, I'm not just gonna sit here and eat 20 sausage rolls, right? Like, that'd be crazy. So what we're gonna do, what I do is brush these with egg wash all on top. So you just brush nice coat of egg wash. And you know, a lot of times when people have recipes online or whatever, they say to mix a little bit of water in with the egg when you're doing egg wash. I don't bother. I don't think that's necessary. I like a nice thick coat of egg, makes a really nice crust on our puff pastry. So what we do now, obviously I've got a couple more to roll here, but we'll just leave it at that for our show today. What I'll do is once I'm finished rolling them all up, they go into the freezer, okay? And then what I do is once they're frozen, pull them out of the freezer and then cut them right from frozen into whatever size I want. You know, sometimes I'll do them little cocktail size if I'm having some friends over and I want to do some appies. Sometimes I'll do them full size because I'm looking for a snack just for myself. And you cut them all up, toss them back in the freezer, and then they're ready to go whenever you need them. So it's a matter of taking it out of the freezer, letting it defrost for about, 20 minutes or so, and then we bake it off. Sausage rolls ready to roll. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you turn sausage rolls into an entree. There we go. That, my friends, is how you turn sausage rolls into an entree. You know, great snack by themselves, but paired with a delicious salad, why not? Oh boy. These ones I made ahead of time, a little bit spicier. The Daddy's version. Love that with the extra heat, the kick. Homemade sausage rolls, lots of fun. Give it a whirl. I think you'll have fun too. Next up, spice rubbed rockfish coming your way. Just a quick flash for those zucchini noodles. So we've got a little part of our entree done already. Just some zucchini noodles I quickly flashed off on the mandolin into little strips, and then a little bit of olive oil, quick flash, salt, pepper, a little bit of garam masala. How's that sound? So now we're gonna carry on. I've got some ginger chopped up. We're gonna chop up some onion as well, get some fine diced onion. Want to sweat off that ginger and onion. Turn that down a touch. Just want to soften those up, right? Not put too much color on them. And shortly thereafter, we're going to add some coconut milk into it. And then toss in a couple rooibos tea bags. That's going to be our sauce. We've got our noodles ready to go. Now we just need to work on our fish. So let's get our spice rub going. All right, let's get some cane sugar in our mixing bowl here. That's probably a little bit too much. And as you can see, I'm just eyeballing this. I'm going to put roughly equal parts salt and sugar. A little bit less ground cumin, and even less chili flakes. There we go. That's it. Whew. So if you have any clumps with that sugar, just make sure they're broken up. But guess what? Yeah, that spice rub ready to go. Not too tricky, was it? Now, let's talk our rockfish. Let's talk rockfish, shall we? Now, in the rockfish, there's going to be some little bones, which you can't really pick out because they just tear the meat. So I cut them out. So you just use your thumb and run along until you find where they are. I'm not feeling any more there, so I only need to cut out up to here. Okay? And then out go the bones. A couple pieces here. And these are pretty small little rock fishies. They sometimes come quite a bit bigger than this, but these will do just fine for our needs today. Okay, So now we're ready to apply our rub. Get that on both sides. All right, so our fish is ready to go, and guess what else? Our sauce is ready for the next step. So I'm just gonna add some of the coconut cream, the very top layer of the coconut milk, into our pot. I'm gonna bring that to a simmer. And once that comes back up to a simmer, we'll add our tea bags. Maybe just a bit more. There we go. All right, now, as far as our fish goes, got a nice hot pan here. And you want to make sure it's really hot before that fish goes in. Really, really important. Okay, you can see that that pan is definitely hot. In goes the fish. So we've almost hit that 2-minute mark now. Really important that your pan's hot, like I was saying. Otherwise the fish isn't going to brown. And we're going to end up with overcooked fish by the time, you know, it gets that nice kind of caramelized action. So we're ready to flip right now. You can see it's, you know, nice, just changing color, starting to go white around the edges here. That's perfect. That's exactly what we want. We've got a little bit of caramelization on there. All right, so this has been simmering for a couple of minutes. Nicely softened up our onions and ginger. We're gonna add in our tea bags and just turn the heat off. We're gonna let those tea bags kind of infuse their flavor into the coconut milk. All right, so our fish has had about 4 minutes in the pan. It's ready to come out. We're not quite ready to plate up, so I'm just gonna go like so for the time being. Now, I want you to keep in mind that if our fish was thicker, if it was a bigger piece of rockfish, we'd need to cook it for a little bit longer. So we'd probably do it at a little bit of a lower temperature so as to not burn that rub, right? And we want to get it cooked through, you know, only about 4 minutes because it was so small. A thicker one's going to take, you know, 4, 5, 6 minutes, depending on how big we get. Now, our sauce is coming along nicely here. The rooibos tea is infusing itself into the coconut milk and splashing me in the face. We'll let that do its thing for another minute or so. In the meantime, let's go like so. All right, so you saw me finish this off earlier. Quick flash in the pan with the zucchini. The zucchini strings cut nicely on the mandolin. Our rockfish is going to sit on top of that. Okay, and now all we need to do is finish off our sauce. All right, we're getting there, ladies and gents. Let's just get a little bit of the flavor out of here. Okay, and what we're gonna do is we're just gonna squeeze the tea bags, and you're gonna see that rooibos coming out. Great. And now all we need to do is season this up a little. Now you can see in our cream here, the coconut, the rooibos ready to be stirred in. Just before I do that though, I'm gonna take a little bit of that spice rub that I had already and stir that in. So we've now seasoned this and kind of matched the flavors that are on the fish with our sauce. And you can see it, that beautiful, nice, rich brown color we end up with. Now, I'm just gonna take some of that, drizzle it over top of our fish, let it kind of carry on over top of the zucchini as well, and we're ready to enjoy a beautiful dish. Not only that, I mean, this was pretty darn simple, right? How about that for an easy entree? Whip together a little spice rub, toss it on the fish, 4, 5, 6 minutes in the pan, little zucchini noodles, that's pretty easy. And that sauce, man, 4 or 5 ingredients. How can you go wrong? It's time to taste. I'm gonna get in here, get some of that sauce. That's awesome. Love that. A little bit of a kick, lots of flavor, creamy and rich because of the coconut milk. Spice rubbed rockfish. There you have it. So, we worked kind of hard today, but not really. I mean, those were pretty easy entrees. That was the theme. I think we accomplished that. 3 dishes we did today. We started off with cashew and quinoa stuffed peppers. That was fun. A little bit of work, but not too much. Then we did some homemade sausage rolls. You know, it's kind of a little bit of work, one big whack of work, and then you got a whole bunch of great stuff waiting for you in the freezer for days and weeks to come. And then we finished it off with a spice rubbed rockfish. Really, really tasty and a little bit fancier. Kind of a nice upscale dish to make for yourself or someone special. All of those recipes, check them out on countrygrocer.com. They're there for you, along with hundreds of others. Thanks for being with us, and see you next time.
Country Grocer.